When the world's richest man whispered to his crying wife, he wasn't just ending a marriage, he was executing a calculated act of revenge. In that moment, Lauren Sanchez glimpsed a truth that could shake the highest levels of power. The Venetian palazzo glittered under the Mediterranean sun, but all beauty vanished as she faced Jeff Bezos, who just a month ago had promised forever, now delivering two haunting words: too late. Not in anger, not in passion, but with the cold precision he reserved for shutting down failing Amazon divisions. Those words didn't just end love, they triggered a sophisticated dismantling funded by private wealth. And it all began months earlier in Manhattan law offices, where attorneys drafted a prenuptial so ruthless that one claimed it contained more restrictions than a corporate acquisition contract.
This wasn't just a wedding. It was a financial weapon disguised as a fairy tale. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's Venetian ceremony dazzled with chandeliers flown from Paris, custom gowns, and meticulously curated guest lists, all designed to project perfection. But behind the sparkle, something far more calculated was unfolding. What looked like a celebration of love was actually a strategic chess move Lauren never knew she was part of. Every conversation, every interaction, every gondola ride was monitored and documented. Photographers weren't capturing romance, they were gathering evidence. Seating arrangements weren't about etiquette, they were positioning for leverage. Hidden cameras and surveillance quietly recorded not just the ceremony, but private exchanges between guests, turning the lavish wedding into a meticulously orchestrated case file. Only Bezos understood.
Every interaction Lauren had with media, executives, or political allies was secretly recorded, turning her life into a surveillance documentary. At the center was the prenuptial, a 200-page blueprint not for protection, but for control and punishment. Legal experts call it unprecedented, with trigger clauses instantly stripping rights and imposing financial ruin. Structured in 7 draconian sections, it was legal warfare disguised as a marriage contract. The first trap, a silence clause, forbade her from speaking publicly, with violations threatening to wipe out her remaining fortune. The prenuptial went far beyond typical asset protection. Image, circle, and influence clauses restricted her branding, connections, and political activity, while inheritance and confidentiality rules kept her under constant control. The deadliest, the $5 billion boomerang instantly wiped her financial rights for any violation. Every smile, interview, and public move worked against her. Cascade clauses amplified the risk, turning the agreement into a legal trap designed to dismantle her completely. The contract was a closed system where one misstep triggered cascading consequences. Presented just days before the wedding, when cancellation meant public humiliation, Lauren was isolated, exhausted, and surrounded by Bezos' team. With magazines ready, guests flown in, and gowns shipped, she faced an ultimatum: sign or the wedding was off. No time for negotiation or review. Coercion, disguised as romance, left her trapped between shame and financial ruin. The signing, filmed as a romantic moment, secretly documented Lauren's consent and sealed her fate. The 30 days between "I do" and "too late" revealed Bezos' calculated strategy. While she thought she was enjoying newlywed bliss, every social media post, public appearance, and business conversation was monitored and logged. Each move she made, from interviews to engagements, became evidence. Her attempts to build a brand as a billionaire's wife were quietly weaponized, forming an inescapable legal trap.
He let her stumble for months, quietly gathering evidence before striking. Surveillance extended beyond digital tracking. Private investigators logged her movements, conversations, and meetings. Even an innocent charity speech was later deemed a violation. The real betrayal wasn't online. It was whispers of disloyalty within the billionaire circle. Her secret interactions with rivals and former partners, captured on surveillance, exposed corporate strategies and private details. It wasn't just business, it was loyalty, and the breach cut to the core of trust.
In Jeff's world, betraying the inner circle is unforgivable. For Lauren, crossing that line wasn't just personal. It threatened business alliances, political deals, and an entire ecosystem built on trust. The final blow came when she was secretly recorded, sharing Bezos's philanthropic and political strategies with a hostile filmmaker. Once triggered, the response was swift and merciless. Legal papers filed across jurisdictions, assets frozen, partners hit with cease and desist letters, social invitations vanished. It wasn't a divorce, it was a calculated blitzkrieg. By the time Lauren realized what was happening, every possible escape had been sealed, leaving her trapped in the consequences of her actions.
The legal attack hit on all fronts: civil suits, criminal referrals, and SEC complaints. Yet, the deadliest blow was social, was weaponized. Calls stopped, allies withdrew, social doors closed. Contracts collapsed under hidden moral turpitude clauses. Every magazine cover and public appearance became evidence, turning her own actions into instruments of destruction. The $5 billion boomerang in motion. Every photo shoot and public appearance Lauren once used to build her brand became evidence against her. Success turned into a trap, with each achievement triggering penalties. Assets froze, book deals disappeared, engagements were canceled, and partnerships dissolved. Violating one clause set off cascading consequences, while gag clauses, social exile, and constant surveillance left her isolated. Even therapy was risky. Every attempt to move forward was blocked, trapping her in a meticulously engineered system of total control and ruin. Every photo shoot and public appearance Lauren once used to build her brand became evidence against her. Success turned into a trap, with each achievement triggering penalties. Assets froze, book deals disappeared, engagements were canceled, and partnerships dissolved. Violating one clause set off cascading consequences, while gag clauses, social exile, and constant surveillance left her isolated. Even therapy was risky. Every attempt to move forward was blocked, trapping her in a meticulously engineered system of total control and ruin. As the dust settled, Lauren's comeback was blocked at every turn by the contract. Legal challenges failed, sympathy was scarce, and the media narrative was set. Elite circles had already judged her, trapping her in a prison of her own making. Attempts to tell her story faced immediate legal pushback. Publishers, journalists, charitable work, and board positions were all undermined. Even family and friends faced impossible choices. Every path forward was poisoned. Association with her had become toxic, and the woman once celebrated for power and glamour was now a whispered cautionary tale.
When Bezos whispered "too late" to Lauren, it wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the culmination of a meticulously executed plan of personal destruction. What seemed emotional was the final strike of the $5 billion boomerang, annihilating every claim, opportunity, and connection she might have leveraged. The Venetian wedding, with its chandeliers, gondolas, and designer gowns, wasn't a celebration of love. It was the opening act of history's most calculated revenge. The contract meant to protect her became the instrument of her downfall.
Today, Lauren Sanchez's story is studied not as a tale of romance gone wrong, but as a masterclass in strategy, leverage, and the devastating consequences of power wielded with precision.
Future leaders study Bezos's precision, preparation, and flawless execution. Lauren's brutal lesson: when you challenge titans, the risk isn't just losing, it's total erasure. The richest man on earth showed that some victories aren't in dollars, but in completely dismantling those who cross him. Too late didn't merely end a marriage, it erased her place in the world, leaving only a stark reminder of what happens when betrayal meets absolute power. In the rarefied world of extreme wealth, love is declared at altars, but war is waged in contracts that can turn fairy tales into nightmares with a single phrase. Every relationship is a battlefield, every agreement a weapon, and every betrayal a sentence carried out with ruthless precision.